There's something about the woods at night that just feels wrong. It's the kind of quiet that doesn't feel empty. It feels like it's waiting. You tell yourself it's just the wind, just the trees creaking. But deep down, in that primal part of your brain, you know you're not alone. These aren't campfire stories made up to spook your friends. These things really happened. 3 people, all alone in the woods, and none of them came back the same. These are 3 true alone-in-the-woods horror stories. Our first story is about Jake. Jake had been camping his entire life. He wasn't the kind of guy who's scared easily. One weekend, he and 2 of his college friends decided to hike deep into a section of woods that most people around town avoided after dark. The locals called it Black Hollow Forest. They set up camp near a small stream, lit a fire, and spent the evening laughing, roasting marshmallows and telling ghost stories just to spook each other. By midnight, everyone was asleep. Everyone except Jake. He lay there half awake, listening to the sound of the wind brushing through the trees. Everything felt peaceful. Until it didn't. At first he heard faint footsteps. Slow, careful, circling their tents. Jake just assumed it was an animal, maybe a deer. But then, the steps stopped, right outside his tent. He held his breath, listening. And then, out of the dead silence, came a whisper. It was soft, close, like someone was kneeling just inches away from the tent wall. It said his name, Jake. His heart froze. Thought it had to be one of his friends pulling a prank. He whispered back, "Not funny, guys," but no one answered. Then the whisper came again, longer this time, Jake. Open the tent. His breath caught in his throat. Whoever it was, they knew his name, but the voice didn't sound familiar. It was soft, almost childlike, and it was coming from directly outside the zipper. He slowly reached for his flashlight, clicked it on, and in one quick motion, unzipped the tent, shining the light outside. Nothing, just trees and darkness. The woods had gone completely silent. Even the wind had stopped. He scanned the trees for a few seconds before zipping the tent back up and lying there wide awake until dawn. When the sun finally came up, he told his friends what had happened. They laughed at first, until one of them noticed something in the dirt just a few feet away. Small footprints. Bare, human footprints. They started at the edge of the trees and stopped right beside Jake's tent. But what made everyone go quiet was how small they were. Too small for any adult. Jake stared at them, trying to process what he was seeing when his friend pointed toward a tree nearby. Carved into the bark, faded with time, were 4 words. Don't answer the whispers. Jake never went camping again. Locals still say if you spend a night in Black Hollow Forest, you might hear your name being whispered through the trees. But whatever you do, don't answer. Next, we have Mia's story. Mia loved solo hiking. For her, the woods were peaceful, a place to disconnect from everything. One autumn afternoon, she set out on a weekend trip in the Appalachian Mountains. The first day was perfect clear skies, orange leaves crunching under her boots, nothing unusual. By evening, she found a flat clearing by a creek and pitched her tent. As the sun went down, the forest changed. Air turned colder. The woods grew unnaturally quiet. Around midnight, she woke up to what sounded like knocking. 3 slow knocks. Then silence. She sat up, heart pounding, listening. A few seconds later, knock, knock. Knock, it was close, maybe right behind her tent. She whispered to herself, "It's probably just a branch." But when she stepped outside with her flashlight, the forest was completely still. No wind, no movement at all. Then, through the trees, she saw something strange. A dim, orange light flickering far ahead. It looked like a lantern. Mia hesitated. She hadn't seen another person all day. Curiosity got the better of her, and she started walking toward it. After a few minutes, she came across an old cabin. It was small, half-collapsed, and completely out of place. The lantern light was coming from inside, glowing through a single, cracked window. She walked around it slowly, trying to find the entrance, but there wasn't one. No door, just solid wooden walls on all 4 sides. The light inside flickered again, brighter this time, and she could have sworn she heard movement. Footsteps, coming from within. Then, as she leaned closer to the window, she saw something that made her blood run cold. Inside, there was a table, On that table was her tent, her backpack, even the flashlight she was holding in her hand at that very moment. Everything was perfectly arranged, as if someone had been waiting for her. Mia stumbled back, terrified, and sprinted into the woods, not stopping until sunrise. When she finally found her way back to her campsite, everything was gone. No tent, no bag, no footprints. As if she had never even been there at all. To this day, hikers sometimes report seeing a faint orange glow deep in those woods. And those who follow it always say the same thing. The cabin has no door, and once you see what's inside, you never sleep right again. Our final story comes from Aaron, who worked for the Forest Service in Oregon. His job was simple: patrol remote trails, check on campsites, and make sure no one was breaking fire rules. Most days were uneventful, but one night in late November, something felt off. He was checking an area that hadn't been used in years, driving his truck down a narrow, unpaved road when he saw something odd. A single tent stood in a clearing, right in the middle of nowhere. No car, no bike, just a tent, completely silent. He stopped his truck and called out, "Forest Service, anyone here?" No response. He walked closer and noticed something even stranger. There were no footprints leading to or from the tent, just one set, circling around it over and over and over again like someone had been pacing for hours. He unzipped the tent and shined his light inside. It was empty. But on the floor was a small, open notebook. The first few pages were blank. The rest were filled with one sentence, written over and over again in frantic handwriting: "He's swatching me from the trees." Aaron felt the air shift, that heavy silence you only notice when you're truly alone. Then came the sound of pine needles crunching behind him. He spun around quickly, but no one was there.
Still.
He could feel it, that unmistakable sensation of eyes on the back of his neck. He took one step toward his truck, then froze. Just at the edge of his flashlight beam, standing between two massive pine trees, was a figure, tall, still, watching. The light barely touched it, but Aaron saw enough. Its head was tilted slightly, as if it were studying him. He didn't wait to see more. He jumped into his truck and sped out of the forest without looking back. Later, when he returned with another officer, the tent and the notebook were gone. Only the circle of footprints remained. Now, whenever Aaron is out there at night, he refuses to stop near the pines, because he knows whatever that thing was, it's still out there. Watching the woods can be a place of peace, until they're not. One wrong step, one strange sound, and suddenly the silence feels alive. These three people thought they were alone, but the forest never forgets who enters its domain. So, if you ever find yourself deep in the woods and you hear your name whispered on the wind, or you see a strange light in the distance, don't follow it. Don't answer. Just leave. Because out there, in the dark, something is always watching. Sometimes it's waiting for you. Thanks for watching. If you have a story you'd like to share, let me know in the comments. 8. And if you want to hear more true encounters, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Assad.